Hey, welcome back everybody to Nemesis Gaming League. We weren't able to showcase our first matchup of the night, but we did able to get a quick run through all the leagues from Novice to Titan and gave you a little bit of our playoff predictions. But right now we got a matchup of the 5-6 matchup from the Prospect League playoffs, and I'm joined here with Fishy.
Yeah, what is up? And I know you guys went over this earlier in the playoff regular season recap, but these two teams, they play again in just 2 days. It'll be interesting to see how this one ends up.
Yeah, no seeding implications whatsoever. They're confirmed to be at the 5 and 6 for both these teams, but perhaps a little bit of a scrim and a warm-up between Faded and Vipers here to see if they can maybe jumpstart their way perhaps into the semifinals, because I don't think anybody really gave either of these two teams a shot here, but anything could happen.
Yeah, anything could. And just looking at these lineups in the match right now, I know Vipers is playing with their sub. They do not have Milk here, who has been their star man the whole season. Maybe just giving everyone else a shot at this, and they could come even more strong coming playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, if they do have Milk in for playoffs and they somehow make their way through the 5-6 matchup, the lower quarterfinal, and the Titan that is presented to themselves in the semis with Origin, they will be going off against potentially the other Milk on Velocity in the grand finals, and that will be an absolute nightmare to cast between both Milks. But crazier things have happened on stream with names, but it would definitely be a nightmare.
Yeah, I know that all-star prospect matchup was a little bit rough to even lay my eyes on. Really, all the Milks in that lobby, it's just something else.
Yeah, and definitely there's been a lot of players with some of the same names in the past. We've had lots of Skies, a few Knights here and there. Now we got two Milks, but that's kind of besides the point, as we're going to have to see what's going to happen when we get these boys up in the lobby. But I know both of us aren't in tune with the Prospect League as much, Fishy, being Titan players, but you got any pre-match predictions here between these guys?
I may not be in tune with the prospect league, but Vipers is my team in my org. It's probably the team I follow the most in my org, other than my own. But I really like watching these boys play, and it's a pleasure to watch them and to cast them tonight. I think they take this one 3-1.
All right. Well, I would be inclined to agree with you, perhaps if they did have their boy Milk, but I think I might have to go Faded here. But definitely a close matchup between these two teams either way, and who knows if they're going to be going all out in this matchup, because like we said, it doesn't particularly mean much and will just be a warm-up for their matchup on Monday, which is the important one. But we will have to wait and see. Starting it off, looks like the Vipers are going to be on offense. Lots of hesitation coming out from the Faded team, but able to break out now. Working their way into this corner as Zingy gets a boost steal, but not able to find contact on the ball. As Kairos keeping it in the corner. Trying to worm its way out, but Zingy comes rushing in, keeping this ball locked in here. Pass to the mid, but Parallax couldn't quite get there in time. As Kairos is going to lift this one high off the backboard. He's going to look for the follow-up. His teammate actually takes the shot, but maybe the confusion allowed that one to go in.
And it looks like Kairos didn't think he would get that ball off of the backboard. He had a defender right in his face. And no one from Viper is either ready to get that ball off of that backboard, and it allowed Parallax to come in and clean it up.
Yeah, a little bit of a risky play that ended up working out for Faded, but maybe that was the right play, because based on Kairos' approach, it did look like he was going to put it straight at either one of those two defenders. And even though the shot speed was not quite there, the shot placement was, as now Faded find themselves on the defensive half once again right off the kickoff. But Zingy looking for a big clear pass to the middle, but Kairos did get demoed, as I'm not sure quite how to pronounce that, if it's Puggles or Pugles. You got any opinion on that there, Fishy?
It is Puggles. It's spelled a little bit iffy, but
All right, I'm glad I got that one, the first one out, As here's Jay. I don't know why he has the name in his name. Confused me for a second, but that is Jay. Putting one shot on, but ultimately blocked away as nobody wanting to go for this ball. It's now Zingy looking for a pass out, but looking like all of the Faded team on little to no boost to get this one out, as they're going to get locked into their half time and time again. Here's Grav getting 50'd out to the side. Jay racing in. Another good 50 as Puggles racing in, getting one touch, looking for another. Almost beating it past Zingy. Getting another boost steal. But perhaps at the moment, Fishy, it kind of just looks like that opening mistake for that goal from Faded, because now on the other side, the Vipers are locking down Faded.
Yeah, it really seems like positionally the Vipers are playing pretty well as a team. They've had Faded in their own half quite a bit. Like you said, that one mistake, it just kind of puts it all to waste when they can't get those good shot opportunities off to get a goal of their own.
And another big whiff coming out, but luckily Puggles does a little bit of a 360 spin to send that one to the side, keeping this deficit at 1. There's a solid clear from Puggles. This one's going to slip past Parallax. Net momentarily open, but Kairos getting back in time as Grav placed the shot with not enough pace or position. Now Parallax, a hard clear of his own. Puggles and Grav both racing back. A good 50 to the side, but Parallax will dunk this one out to keep this locked into the orange half. And again, this ball stuck in these corners time and time again. It kind of happens at the lower levels. Not enough of a mechanical ability or creative plays to get it out, but Parallax charging in again.
Parallax, looking at his score, he's already over 500 points from his defensive effort and putting home both of the Faded goals in this one. He's really doing it all, and a great shot off the pass from, I believe it was Kairos right there.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I was making that point about the ball being locked into the corner, and kind of a favorable bounce off that sidewall. It kind of eked out to the middle very favorably for Faded, and Parallax ate that one up. And now, 2 opportunities where looks like Vipers have had the majority of the pressure in this game. They're sitting at 8 shots in comparison to Faded's 4. And just mistakes like that one right there, where another big whiff on defense is keeping them boxed in. And if Vipers could just reduce those defensive mistakes, maybe those rotations, it looks like they're the better team at the moment. As hold on, Puggles with an interesting pre-flip.
It looks like the pressure finally paid off. They just kept hammering that ball towards the net. It looks like Puggles, like you said, pre-flip, pre-jump something, and it rolls its way into Faded's net, but that could be some life for the Vipers in this one.
That was a very interesting play coming out from Puggles, and it kind of favorably bounced off of, looked like Kairos' car there to hit that one straight back in, and now Vipers attacking quick off the kickoff, almost finding another to quickly tie it back up. But now, opposite side, whiffs from both Viper and Grav are going to allow Zingy to maybe perhaps get a dribble out, but will get shut down from Jay. As Jay sending it to the middle, Kairos, hard clear back towards the other side, Grav shutting it down. Zingy trying to get a soft touch, but couldn't find contact whatsoever. As Grav perhaps looking for a demo onto Kairos, but couldn't find much of any contact at all. And a double commit is going to push Grav back into his own corner, and final seconds rolling in. And the pressure from the Vipers is not enough to get themselves onto offense, but perhaps something now, a big bump. But the players behind him were rushing in too late. And the final seconds could very well belong to Faded, as a big shot from Kairos sent away. And it looks like this one will be touching the ground in Vipers territory, and it will. But, you know, Vipers, they gave that a lot of shot opportunities there, but, and it wasn't for lack of trying, but either way, Faded come away with game 1.
Yeah, Vipers, they kind of kept it in Faded's half quite a bit, but Faded just that little bit better with the shooting. A couple of good passes coming out from Kairos and Zingy to open it up as well. I think Vipers, they just have to warm up into this one. I know Jay just got back from his internet cutting out, so that might play a part. But either way, they got to get their touches better.
And Interesting thing to note from all of the Viper shots, they had 10 shots to Faded's 5, so exactly double, but 9 of their 10 shots were saved, and the only one that wasn't saved went in, so all of the shots accounted for. It wasn't due to lack of accuracy, but maybe just need to get a little bit more creative with their shots, or maybe try and get some demo plays. I know they tried a bump play at the very end there, but either some bump plays or just better passing plays and shots overall, because Faded, they saved 9 of those 10 shots, and the other one just happened to sneak its way in.
The one that was creative, like a pre-flip kind of thing, it did find its
Yeah,
way in.
was a very creative play from Puggles. Some might say creative, some might say lucky, but either way, it was a goal for the Vipers, but wasn't quite enough. Maybe they're going to need some more unorthodox plays like that to try and get a win here against Faded in Game 2. Is starting it off on the kickoff. We'll find the Vipers stuck in their half, but a big clear. This one might just sink its way in, but it goes off the crossbar. Grav putting a soft one on, and Jay comes racing in as well. Good pressure to start off the game, but perhaps the accuracy is certainly an issue right there, Fishy.
And that worried me from both teams, with all 6 players swarming that ball as it was on the goal line. Zingy's team, Faded's accuracy just cannot be stopped.
Yeah, that was kind of an unfortunate hit from Puggles. It just dished it straight out to Zingy, and Jay, he couldn't cover all the net, and he placed that one perfectly in the top right there. It's now again off the kickoff. It seems like the Vipers are losing this kickoff every time, but able to hold it off at the moment as Jay will send it to his own corner. Now, an unfortunate ball again, but Puggles able to find the save, but not for long as Zingy comes in again.
Yeah, I don't think Vipers are used to being stuck in their half like Faded were for that game 1. Just looking at them, they win 150, but there's no one there to back it up, and it allows Zingy to just pick his spot in the net and score a second goal.
Yeah, and we mentioned it before, but I kind of forgot about it for most of Game 1, and that was that Vipers, they are missing Milk, so this isn't really the Vipers at their full potential, but still, even without Milk, it does look like they can compete with this Faded roster, but just falling short at the moment. Still a lot of time left to work with Game 2, as more panic on the defense. As the Vipers are continually trying to get this ball out, but time and time again, Faded are there to shut it down. Good breakout opportunity from Puggles now, as this one's sent back, but Jay pushed up a little bit too far, and another big 50. As Zingy was looking for a third, but he didn't quite see Puggles in the back. Overcommit from Faded this time, putting the net open. Favorable bounce, but Zingy, he just kind of was sitting in the lap of luxury right there. The ball just happened to find him.
Yeah, and that's the second time that Faded, they've raced back in time for those long Vipers clears. They just seem to be in the right place come when those transitions happen.
Yeah, and there was another big clear right there. Slight double commit, but Faded able to send it away. And even though it looks like Faded's overcommitting ever so slightly, they are able to get back in time for these big clears coming out from the Vipers, as Puggles is going to dunk out his own teammate Grav, who sets it up for Jay. But Jay couldn't get there quick enough, and another bad bounce is going to leave Kairos up for this one. Missing the shot, though. But Zingy keeping this one in the corner. It's Jay to the middle, but Parallax immediately shutting that one down. Puggles on the back wall, avoiding bumps, trying to find contact at the same time, but Parallax this time bumps his own teammate. And rotation a little bit sus from both these two teams at the moment.
It is, but neither team can capitalize. Never mind his Parallax. Looks like he might have gotten a double tap mid-air after he popped it up to himself.
Yeah, it actually looked like an own goal, but either way, a dangerous opportunity from Parallax. But, I mean, you can't really blame the defender there. Parallax really probably should have put a better shot on net. He kind of shot it straight at the last defender. And a big mistake from Grav, trying to dribble out of defense, gives them a fourth.
And a couple times Vipers have tried to dribble out of the defense. It looks like whenever there's no one behind them in net, it doesn't seem to work very well, because those 50s can just go anywhere.
Yeah, and Grav kind of, It's I didn't really see this much in game one, but 3, 4 times now, as another whiff comes out, it looks like Vipers are not on the same page. They're balling each other out on defense, touching each other's challenges that the other should be going for, and it just doesn't seem like they're on the same page overall. And that was another instance right there where Grav, he tried to dribble it out when he should have just left it for his teammate to secure that one to the corner. And all these mistakes are compounding over time, and this time it's not even close for game two.
And I think that might just go down to them being without Milk, because I think he has played every game this season, maybe bar one. That might just be the chemistry that they need to bring Milk back for playoffs.
And their mistake, Grav, he did his best he could to keep that one away and actually tried to go for the squishy. Great effort from him, but ultimately the speed just not quite enough to get that one out, and Faded are looking to take this game two in dominating fashion. And Vipers, with that super high shot total game one, are going to be kicking themselves, because more likely than not, they are going to be finding themselves down at a 2-0 deficit in this series. But once again, overall, the series doesn't really mean much. Both these teams are going to face each other again in that 5-6 matchup, and not so much a thing in Rocket League, Fishy, but I know in other sports when perhaps a match doesn't mean anything, you don't want to give off your strategy, so to say. So maybe they're just waiting to unleash the beast with Milk, perhaps, but who's to say?
Yeah, maybe they're just pulling their star quarterback, saving him for the big game. You never know.
Yeah, maybe Milk was ready and they just didn't want to play him. I mean, Rocket League players can be pretty crafty at times. As finally a solid passing play coming out from the Vipers to get themselves one goal, but a consolation at this point.
And I think moving forward in this series, I think that's what Vipers really have to aim for, because it looks like Faded is stepping up the pressure in their end. So if they can try and get those clears and counterattacks off, I think they could have a lot more success in game three.
Yeah, and still, I mean, going back to the shot totals, Vipers, for how little it seems like they've been able to be on offense in this game, they're sitting at 6 shots, which is only 4 behind Faded. Just seems like Faded have been able to capitalize way more on their opportunities, and I don't think it's so much Faded pulling off great plays. It just looks like the Vipers' mistakes from game one that they weren't being punished on are being punished this time around, and Faded are going to happily take this one in dominating fashion.
Yeah, there's really not much more to say. It seems like Faded just brought the pressure to Vipers in this one, and like you said, making mistakes that they weren't capitalizing on in that game one. Once they did, Faded winning this one 5-1. They did actually beat Vipers in shots compared to that first game.
Yeah, and this time around, the Vipers, they couldn't compete, and those mistakes just proved to be too much. But they're going to have to maybe come back at the reverse sweep. I don't know if I give them much opportunity left in this one, and I'm not quite sure that they're taking this matchup as seriously. Like we mentioned, Milk not here, putting a sub in. I think is Puggles the sub?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, well, that will answer that. But at the end of the day, an exhibition match, so to say, between these two rosters, and we'll have to see how the real result will change on Monday. And that one will be a best of 7. All the playoff matches will be best of 7. And I guess we could maybe comment on that now. Is how do you think a best of 7 changes the implications of a series?
It's rough because I think a best of 7, it actually gives more momentum to the team that wins like game one, or even like a game two wins in a row, because there aren't that many reverse sweeps or come from behind victories in best of 7s. So I think whoever gets those first couple of games will be sitting kind of pretty and just hoping to hold on for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I think definitely when you get to that, if you're ever down 2-0, that's kind of the make or break point right there, because if you ever make it down 3-0, I mean, more often than not, I mean, it has to be like a less than 2% chance that those teams are going to reverse sweep in a best of 7. But I'd say if you're down 2-0, there's definitely time there's definitely time to recuperate and come back. I think actually in both of the times I've been in a best of 7 down 2-0, we were able to come back and tie it up 2-2, but we ended up losing 4-2 overall. So definitely a lot of time for mid adjustments. I think that's one thing about best of 7s is that there's lots of time to adjust in the overall series length in comparison to a series like this where the Vipers are now down 2-0 and they're kind of just trying to play it out. But I will say, starting it off here in Game 3, Vipers once again with great shot totals. They're sitting at 4, Faded at 0 at the moment, and looks like they've cut down a lot on their mistakes, Fishy.
And I don't know if the saves from Faded are a testament to weak shots coming out from Vipers or if the rotations defensively are just really solid. It could be a mix of both, but Faded again, it seems like they're just saving every shot that the Vipers throw at them, and not many of them are hitting the post.
Yeah, definitely. And somehow Faded has 5 saves when Vipers only have 4 shots, but another big one right there from Parallax to send that one away. And that was actually a great shot, but Parallax in the right spot at the right time. But now it's 6 saves with 5 shots. I'm not quite sure how that happens, Fishy.
I don't either. I thought a save had to have a shot onto it. Maybe there was a double pinch save I must have missed in there, but maybe Rocket League's just breaking today.
But one thing that isn't breaking is Faded's defense, and throughout all 3 games, they have been able to stand tall and block pretty much anything Vipers have been able to put at them. Vipers only sitting at 2 goals in the whole series, whereas Faded are sitting at 7. And another shot opportunity there, but right at the defender. And another one, Parallax kind of panicking in front of the net, and he will finally break as Puggles comes charging in.
And Parallax, he's stuck on that goal line with no boost. Actually, he had 60 boost, but just a little bit awkward with all of his touches, couldn't follow them up. And Puggles just came flying in to smash it home. I think that might be Viper's first lead of the series.
Yeah, and I think that was actually a really good job. As hold on a second, I'm not quite sure what's happening. As the Vipers will be able to send that one away. A little bit of an awkward play coming out from them, but I think that was actually a really good play from Parallax. He got a really good save initially and had to fight that backwards momentum to find another. I think the only thing that threw him off was the ball was right in front of him and he didn't see Puggles coming in, so I think that's why he got destroyed on that 50, because he just didn't know he was coming. As now a series of shots coming out from Faded, but accuracy proving to be an issue for them that time around. As big whiff from Kairos. Zingy over to Kairos, back to him. But Grav finding the save, not solid contact, but able to get it away off of another clear. It's a big shutdown from Jay. We'll send it over to Puggles, and Parallax getting dunked out again, actually.
And again, it's unfortunate for Parallax because the camera was on his car, and you just couldn't see Jay lingering up on that high wall, ready to dunk him again, but maybe Faded, they need to start getting more players back. I know they're trying to get the pressure up since they're down, but sometimes you gotta shore up the defense first.
Yeah, and that really wasn't a terrible hit from Parallax. Maybe he should have stayed a little bit closer to the ball, gotten another solid touch, but I mean, Grav, he was kind of just, or was it Jay or Grav? I'm not sure, but they were just sitting up there. And another pre-flip. This time, Puggles was able to capitalize on another pre-flip from his teammate. But either way, good showing from Vipers, who are now sitting at 11 shots.
Yeah, the pressure's coming out for them once again. Going back to what they were in Game 1, and it's working out this time.
As certainly as another big hit from Grav. Puggles looking for some interference. Here's Jay. I would be hard-pressed to see him find this double tap. He does find contact. A little bit of a sack of rocks aerial, but still able to keep this pressure up in this Faded half. And with 10 seconds and counting, as all the players on Faded are getting bumped off this ball, Vipers will find the victory here in Game 3 to start off this reverse sweep attempt.
Yeah, you know what they say, you never want to try and stop a reverse sweep coming out from this Org D with a sub up, as we did see one on the Nemesis After Dark stream on Wednesday.
I don't know how many people say that, Fishy, but seeing as how your team was able to pull off a reverse sweep, and despite all odds, I'll give that one to you, but yeah, certainly not out of the question for the Victory Org there. Perhaps looking to get 2 reverse sweeps in 1 week. And, really, I think it came down to that game 3, Vipers looked really good. And game 2, Vipers just looked really bad. I think Faded are playing solid overall. And they're just waiting for those mistakes. And game 1, game 3, Vipers just didn't make that many mistakes. And if they continue to do so, could be Faded series to lose here.
Yeah, it seems like it is just in Viper's hands whether they make the mistakes or if they don't at this point, because if they don't make those mistakes, you can have a dominating game 3 like they just had, where it didn't really seem like Faded had too many opportunities other than a couple awkward plays from Vipers on defense.
Yeah, and I think if this is how the Vipers are playing this solid against the Faded roster right now, I do think the Vipers boys in your org could easily, well, maybe not easily, but certainly be able to make a go at Faded on Monday if they're playing this competent right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see on Monday night.
As they're starting off hot here. Game 4, as a big clear comes around the side. Jay trying to clear it, but only to parallax. As Puggles unable to find contact in the middle either. Pass over to Kairos. But Puggles standing tall on the backboard, sending it away. He will get bumped off the ball for his efforts. As Jay getting dunked out as well. Nobody wanting to go for this one as finally Kairos and Grav come charging in for a 50. And right as I was starting to say, Vipers are getting some pressure. They don't have any shots yet, but now Faded are coming right back into this one. And I know we both not as knowledgeable as we should be, Fishy, on Prospect, but this is the starting roster for Faded, right? Or is Zingy a sub as well?
I believe it is the starting roster because they do have Cliffs in the lobby as well, so that is their 4 lineup. So unless they just wanted a sub to play in this one, maybe to not show their hand as well, I think they do have the option to play all 3 of their starters.
Yeah, Cliffs could very well be the sub, but I am not 100% certain. But either way, perhaps Cliffs, he's in the spectating. He's maybe getting some info for the boys on Monday. Who knows? He's got the headphones on, sending some Morse code to him. But either way, a little bit of a standstill here in game 4. Only 3 shots total, 2 to Vipers, 1 to Faded. As just looks like a lot of defensive whiffs. Honestly, is finally a breakout opportunity from Faded off the quick passing play will give them the lead.
And it looks like Vipers committed a bit too much there. You see Grav at midfield. As soon as that ball was hit behind him, he really had no chance. He tried to half flip back to get in the way of the shot, but there was no stopping that Zingy Steam shot from coming through.
Yeah, some might say it was zinging. That was bad. But back to the gameplay. As now Vipers off the kickoff, this time finding pressure for once, as seems like all series they've been beat on the kickoff. But this time around, able to stick with it. As a good pop from Jay, putting Zingy in an awkward spot. Nobody wanting to go for this ball. Grav taking a long time to go for the ball himself. Even with 0 boost, I'm expecting him to get on that ball quicker. And an opportunity gone awry right there.
And I don't know if Grav expected that shot to be completely open as it was, because Zingy just kind of left the ball and went to the corner where there wasn't any boost, hoping his teammate could come and get it. And I think his teammate actually got bumped in the net, so a bit awkward. They're coming out from Faded, but they don't get capitalized.
That was a strange play right there. Nobody really wanted to touch the ball. As now on the opposite side, Faded getting back onto offense. A solid save from Jay, blocking that opportunity, but again, another big whiff coming out. As Grav taking to the dribble, perhaps taking to the dribble again was a mistake. And that's the second time Grav has been taken advantage of on that dribble.
And I think any sort of dribbles in the back from Vipers just hasn't gone too well. I know their clears out of the back have been pretty great this whole series, so I'd like to see them try and go back to that because Fated's been all over whenever they try and keep it close and narrow it an end.
It's Parallax looking for the double right there and almost finding contact, and that is a good point. I do like the idea of dribbling out from Grav, but perhaps at this level where you don't have quite the control on your ball touches on the dribbles, that maybe clearing it to the side would have just been the safer and better option, as taking to a dribble like that and getting continuous soft touches in a row around multiple defenders is not an easy thing to do, even at the Titan level.
Yeah, it's not easy and it can be risky because it doesn't really buy time for your team to get back, so they are relying on you to get those touches.
And another missed opportunity for the Vipers right here. Less than a minute to try and mount a comeback. Looking promising at the moment. They're still going to have to put one in. There's a big whiff coming out. Puggles with a great way to start it off, and they're going to have to find another with 30 seconds left.
And I think they just need to throw everything at Faded. Get that pressure back because all three players just flipping into that corner, hoping it would roll middle. And luckily for them, there was a whiff coming out from Faded, so they just need one goal with 30 seconds left here.
And that was a good shot from Puggles, slowing down the momentum of that shot to put it past Zingy, who was falling off the backboard. But they're going to have to look towards another great play here, as Jay getting demoed in the back. But Puggles with a solid 50 is going to send this all the way back. Zingy getting a soft touch, looking to follow it up. Big dunk coming out as Jay loitering in the backfield. Puggles on the dribble, but again getting shut down from these dribbles on the Vipers, and perhaps too little too late, as Kairos is going to look to drop this, and he tried to fake it and he does. Almost able to get it up at 0 seconds, but ultimately Faded are going to come away with this one.
And I think that was just a good solid showing from both teams heading into playoffs, considering the circumstances. Of course, Vipers without Milk, and they still got a game off and kept it pretty close for all except game 2. But Faded, it just seems like we're the more consistent team, maybe less defensive mistakes coming out from them, and I think that's how they won the series.
Yeah, I think for Puggles being the sub, he actually looked pretty solid, and maybe just the boys on Vipers just gotta maybe chalk it up to just poor defense, and maybe gotta look at Grav a little bit more specifically on the defense and try and get him to start banging the ball out of defense more. And I think maybe 3-4 goals for Faded are coming from the Vipers being a little bit too slow on defense, trying to get the perfect touch when sometimes you just got to relieve that pressure.
And I think it might be interesting. I know you mentioned Puggles, and I think he will have to play during playoffs because, unless I heard something wrong down the grapevine, but I believe Jay will be gone for playoffs from Vipers. They will have Puggles, Milk, and Grav against Faded on Saturday, or Monday, rather.
For all of playoffs or just Monday?
I know at least the first 2 games, so unless they make grand finals, but I know there might be some other scuffed things coming out from Vipers if they do make that long playoff run.
Yeah, I mean, if they even manage to make it to the semis, I will be impressed. As all similar case in the Titan, it seems like all 4 of the top seeds are pretty star-studded rosters, and heading into Prospect on Monday, I mean, you got Banshees, Melons, Velocity, and Origin. That realistically, I don't see anybody coming out from the 5-6 seed making a run at that grand final spot. But I mean, upsets have happened before, and anything's possible. And we'll have to see. I mean, who knows? The Milk grand finals matchup could happen.
I think that's what we're all rooting for.
But I would love to see it. I would hate to see it, but love to see it at the same time. It would be some interesting lore in Nemesis playoffs. But that's gonna do it from us on this second matchup. Faded taking down. Who was just playing? Hold on a second. The Vipers. Faded taking down Vipers 3-1 in a rather close series. Sans game 2, and we got one more match coming up for you guys tonight, and we'll catch you guys then.